getting so smart? I stopped having sex with Ben 3 days ago, and I don't know no Portuguese.
Wait a second. I know what's happening. The no sex thing's having the reverse effect on you.
What? What are you talking about?
To a woman, sex is like the garbage man. You just take for granted the fact that anytime you put some trash out on the street, a guy in a jumpsuit's going to come along and pick it up. But now, no sex. It's like a garbage strike. The bags are piling up in your head. The sidewalk is blocked. Nothing's getting through. You're stupid.
I don't understand.
Exactly.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for it, radio, and a voice for print. It is our favorite woman in the world, Miss Aussie Jana Hocking, and she, this dating expert, tries celibacy, and it didn't turn out so well. She could not seem to do it for more than 15 hot minutes. Raise your hand if you're surprised. I don't see anyone surprised out there. They say, I'm a sex and relationship expert. Here's why I went celibate, by Jana Hocking. And this is just from a couple of days ago. She said, here's a sentence I thought I would never be uttering. Celibacy is so hot right now. Well, of course she wouldn't be uttering that. She hasn't tried it since she was in her teens back in 1973. She said, I kid you not, TikTok, the oracle of all upcoming trends, has called it celibacy is in and sex is out. Okay. So who's it out for? Let's be honest. Who's it out for? It's out for probably aging women, and it's out for guys that don't have a lot of money and or looks. Other than that, I don't think too many. I think the Chad Chaddingtons, and just about every woman that's a 4 and up, maybe even the 3s and up, are getting plenty of it if they want it. She says, so cross your legs, ladies, zip up your pants, gents, because, a trend has reached its peak when celebrities are harping about it in interviews far and wide, with Lenny Kravitz, a guy that's probably in his 60s, Julia Fox. All right, Julia Fox is an actress, and she was born in 1990, so that puts her at 34 years old. So, yeah, she's getting up there. I'm sure she'd still get attention from the boys if she wanted it. Lady Gaga. Well, she's just weird. But anyway, raving about the benefits of giving it up, clear minds, better decision-making, more brain space to focus on other things. Yes, because that's where your brain is all the time as a 60-year-old man and 35-year-old women, apparently. Now, all that sounds fabulous, but where do our hormones go? Do we just bury them deep inside? That sounds really horrible. Well, of course it does, Jana. That is your only value to humankind. She says, so it's no surprise that I poo-pooed the idea at first. My belief has always been that sometimes all you need for a bit of stress release is a good old romp. Again, who is surprised by that? She is a serial dater who will sleep with a dude, and by the next article that's due in 4 more days, has broken up with and slept with 3 more people in between. She said, but never one to skip a trend, I decided to give it go. So for 3 months,
Oh, wait, you serious?
No. I just no. No. Because I guarantee you I can go back and look at the article she wrote 2 weeks ago, and it's something about the hookup she just had. I don't even have to. I know I could. I know she hasn't gone 3 months. I doubt she's gone 3 weeks. I'd be surprised if she went 3 days. She says, so for 3 months, I dated solidly and didn't put out once. I was queen of the blue balls. I don't believe that. I just don't. I just do not. Facilitator of the Clock, C-L-O-C-K, Clock, YouTube, Clock, block, frigid flirt of the dating scene. I had many realizations during this time, and it honestly was eye-opening experience. So let me share with you the pros and cons of abstaining from that glorious thing known as boinking, which she totally didn't do. It divided the good guys from the time wasters. No kidding. The first thing I noticed is how many guys just assume sex is guaranteed on the first dates these days. No, honey. It's with the men you pick. The men you pick are 5%ers, And if they want to sleep with someone, they do. And if that person doesn't sleep with them, they ditch them and go find another because they're 5%ers and that's all the women want. Only those men. Notice she says generalizes. How many guys? No, it's just the top guys that you want to sleep with. But that's, again, only the top 5%ers. She said, don't get me wrong. I would be offended if a handsome guy didn't at least try to get me nude after a date. But their shock when I said no was almost comical. Probably because you were teasing them and you were giving them the come on and they got all excited. And then at the last minute, you said no. Or more than likely, you're 100% making all of this up and you did them anyway. I had 2 separate guys continue to try even after I'd hopped in my Uber home. I received thirsty texts such as, are you sure? I can get an Uber straight to yours. And babe, seriously, let's have some fun. Press X for doubt. Okay, so clearly these guys were hoping for a bit of action and not much else because I didn't hear from them afterwards, but the ones who were cool with it are still in the picture. Bravo, gents. I have a hard time picturing that all these guys are so thirsty for a 40-something. I press X for doubt on that. She said, cons, I was horny as all get out. No kidding. Honestly, a hint of wind across the nips, and I was ready to get down and freaky with almost anybody. And that's why I don't believe she said no. Because you're going to tell me she went 3 months so she could write an article? I don't
think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir.
I don't believe it at all. I just don't. Why is it that when we're not allowed something, we want it more? Okay, whatever. Bad boys, ice cream, sleeping around. It's a cruel, cruel world. I don't know why people are saying it clears the mind. For me, it made me think of nothing but sleeping with somebody. Pro, I looked classy. I don't know what. I have a dirty word blocker, so I'm sure it's a dirty word. It's quite empowering to have the upper hand when it comes to sleeping around. The sexual tension is glorious and it makes the wait worthwhile. See, this is what's interesting, and this is why I don't believe Jana did this. She's never in her life waited. And you can tell because she says the tension is glorious and it makes it worthwhile. Okay, so maybe she did actually partake in this experiment. Maybe she did wait. But here's what's key. You can tell she's like, wow, the tension is wonderful and it makes the wait worthwhile. She's discovering this at 40-something years old, which means she's never done it in her life, which means if she's always wanted to hook up with a dude and she's down, they do it. They do it. So she's always putting out. She basically admits it. She said, well, not technically on the first go, that's fairly quick, but the second go, well, that's worth waiting for. So you made him wait a whopping second date to go all the way with you. Oh, wow, you are like a nun. You're like a monk in the Himalayan mountains. How do you make a man wait so long as the second date? Boy, no one will call you easy. She said, if I'm being completely honest, I was a bit grumpy. She said, sex has always been a good release of dopamine, a lovely way to stop the brain from thinking about anything other than what's going on in the current moment. Without it, you're left with all your thoughts, and you never want to be left with all of them. That is pretty clutch right there. That's pretty clutch. She's admitting that she uses the bedroom and sleeping around and going on all these dates and meeting up with a bunch of men and having all this quote unquote fun. And she's a serial perpetual dater because if she's not doing that, her brain goes to thinking about all the other thoughts and she doesn't want to be left to all those other thoughts because she likely has a lot of problems, doesn't like herself very much, doesn't like her standing in life, doesn't like that she's aging and that she's going to be less desirable, and she needs to clear her head of those things. So what better way to feel desirable and sexy and wonderful and get your thoughts away from that than having some guy fold you up like origami? See, this is something that's a lot of young people have admitted, and they don't admit it at the time, but they admit it later. And I noticed this about myself that when I was serial dating, it was because I didn't feel very good about myself. Like I didn't I didn't feel I was in a good place. But you know what? Going out and flirting with a woman and then having her flirt back, and you get the digits, or you take her home to her place and you hook up on the drive home, you're like, yeah, I still got it. I still feel good about myself. It's a very narcissistic, like self-fulfilling medication, so to speak. But the reality of it, it's very shallow and it's very futile, and it only lasts just a couple of days. And then something else happens that makes you feel insecure, and you repeat the pattern. This sounds like Jana's been repeating it for almost 30 years. And she's not obviously in a very good headspace. But how would I know? Only the other thousands and thousands and thousands of women doing the same thing. And then saying it messed them up. She says, I spoke to Only Fools content creator, couple, and relationship experts. Yes, Only Fools couples and relationship experts. I love the people that are relationship experts. They're people that sleep with everybody, and they're Only Fools content creators. You know, if you really want to know who's a couple expert, it'd be somebody that can maybe keep a relationship. Maybe it's just me. She said, Stace and Ty about why they think this trend is ridiculous. And they said, how do you discover what you do and don't want in the bedroom if you're not sleeping with each other? In our line of work, I would encourage individuals to deeply understand why they want to explore celibacy and work on the fundamental underlying issue rather than using sex as a scapegoat. Well, they're actually right there. But what they're saying is why are you going to be celibate? At least it sounds to me that they're saying, like, how do you discover what you do and don't want if you're not sleeping around? So they encourage people to understand, why are you cutting yourself off from the bedroom, and work on the fundamental underlying issue. Yeah, okay. You work on that fundamental underlying issue by not hooking up and not dating and being celibate and staying away from the madness for a while. And if you start feeling bad about yourself, maybe you have issues. Maybe you have things you need to work on. Maybe you have things you need to work out. But instead, they're all basically admitting, like, no, just sleep around and then you're going to have a good time. They say unless they've experienced trauma, which is a different conversation, I would encourage them to be open-minded and not close off anything completely, such as sleeping around. Well, of course, yes, these are the experts of relationships here in 2024. They say sex and relationships can be an impactful teacher for self-discovery as long as you're approaching them with curiosity and staying true to your own values. This is the problem, is that our dating experts are basically like, yeah, go hook up, go sleep around, go do your thing, be open-minded, get it all out of your system, have your fun. Do you wonder why people are self-medicating while they're miserable and they're sad and they're lonely? Because it's the hookup culture, and that's not working. I mean, here's Jana at 40-something years old in like a short miniskirt. Yeah, she looks like she's doing great. She says, and to say that here, before you ban yourself from something completely, why not ponder on why it is you think it's that you must? Will I be doing it again? No. And am I glad to give it a go? Sure. In other words, she's not. There's 2 points. Either A, she didn't do it, which wouldn't surprise me. I have no surprises that she would make something up. Or secondly, maybe she did. Maybe she did give it a go. Did she do it for 3 months? No, obviously not. She's never gone that long in her life without it. But even if she did, she does say in here that she didn't like it because it does make her think about all the things in her head, and no one wants to think about all the things in their head. Well, if you're well-adjusted and you're healthy and you're in a good place in your life, you're perfectly fine with living in your own head. I live in there 23, 6.5. Not quite 24/7, but a lot. And I like myself, and I'm fine with spending time by myself. And I don't need these distractions to take me away from the real world and what's going on in my head and in my life. But when you're an unwell individual, when you're narcissistic and you need that input and that attention from other people, yes, you do need it. And Jana has an easy way of getting it. She's not bad looking for her age. I'm sure you can see even in the photo above, here she's letting the cleavage hang out. Here she's got cleavage all the way down to her belly button. She's got no problem showing it. She knows she's relatively attractive and has a decent body. She'll put out. And she can walk into any bar looking like this and just go up to almost any guy and say, you want to go have a shag in the parking lot? And the guy will be like, yeah, all right. Not realizing that it's not because she's God's gift to women or anything else, but she's available and she's easy. Guys like that. You know, for a lot of guys, the difference between a 7 and a 10 is if the 7 will go home with them and hook up with them without any effort on their part, a lot of guys consider that a 10. They're like zero effort. Don't have to pay for a date. She comes over at 10:30 at night, polishes the knob, and then goes home without any argument. Dude, that girl's perfect. Just ask some guys. They'll tell you. Jana, in many men's eyes, is a perfect 10 because they can go into a bar, they say a couple of lines, she tee-hees and flitters, they're decent looking, she goes home, gives them what they want, and then doesn't ask for a relationship. There's a whole lot of guys that would think a woman like that is a perfect 10. I don't think she made it 3 months. I don't think she waited 3 weeks, maybe 3 days. It's Jana after all. Guys, if you like my work, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. Great community of like-minded men. We do movie events every weekend. Come over and support my work. It's $5 a month. I would appreciate it to support my journalism because YouTube isn't so great at doing that anymore. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next one.